Today's Tuesday, July 10th. Welcome to the Music Business Blitz. Grammy submissions are now open.
What up, and good news, everybody. The 2018 Grammy submissions are now open, and the Recording Academy has released a list of key dates for the up-and-coming 61st Grammy Awards. They've also released information about voting and entry processes, so if you are interested in this, I encourage you to go to www.grammy.com to find out more, and that's where you can also become a member of the Recording Academy. However, do note that not anybody can become a member. There are a few stipulations in place, so keep that in mind. The cool thing about the Grammys this year is that they are expanding nominations for Album, Record, and Song of the Year from 5 nominations to 8. Three more, that is awesome. And music supervisors, so people who select recorded music for movies and film, they are now eligible for the Best Compilation Soundtrack Album Award, but will only be eligible as producers if they produce more than half of the soundtrack. So think about Guardians of the Galaxy. If you ever seen that movie, it's got a fantastic soundtrack. So if this was in place when those movies were released, then I guarantee that music supervisor would have won an award.
Childish Gambino and Glassnote Records may be going to court.
All right, all you Childish Gambino fans out there, or Donald Glover fans, you ever see Atlanta? You ever see This Is America? That music video, that shit was crazy. But all you fans out there, I digress. Your favorite triple threat artist may be going to court to see his old label Glassnote Records, as they recently filed a formal action for a declaratory judgment with the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. That is a tongue twister. After Donald Glover's legal team demanded a payment of $1.5 million, as well as 100% of the rights owner's share of Sound Exchange royalties on a moving forward basis. Now, as you recall, we've talked about Sound Exchange a little bit here on the Music Business Blitz, but what they are an organization that collects and distributes digital performance royalties. So think of them like a performance rights organization like BMI or ASCAP, just on the digital side. So the money that is in question here, that these two are fighting over, or possibly going to fight over, was generated from non-interactive streaming royalties like Pandora and SiriusXM, places where you can select a particular song or album to listen to. And it was paid through Sound Exchange. So to give you some backstory of how Glassnote and Donald Glover are related, and some information on that particular contract, after signing Glassnote Records in 2011, Glover granted the label exclusive exploitation rights of his music. So that allowed the label to freely manufacture and sell, distribute, market, perform, broadcast his music, and then Glassnote in return agreed to pay Gambino about 50% of the net royalties accrued as part of his contract. So according to Glassnote, so far, the agreement has resulted in Gambino being paid about $8 million, with about $2 million more on the way. And in addition to that, Glassnote has stated that they have paid Gambino about $700,000 in digital non-interactive performance royalties. So since no one has gone to court yet, the jury's still out regarding who has a stronger case. I know I used that pun, probably incorrectly, confused a lot of people, but no one really knows the details outside of this case, outside of what I just told you. So it's only speculation. I'm not going to talk anymore about it, but it is interesting because a lot of artists, when they get to a certain stature, they tend to go back and sue their labels. There's a bunch of them that not many of them have been successful, but we'll see how this one plays out because it could set a precedence moving forward.
Spotify takes another shot at the labels.
So first, Spotify disrupts the music industry by offering a cloud-based catalog of your favorite songs, pretty much anything you ever wanted to hear. And to be honest, I did not believe this was true for like the first year I was hearing about Spotify. And all this music that's up in the cloud, it's available on all your devices 24/7. Then Spotify started offering advances for non-exclusive,
I repeat, non-exclusive
deals to directly license their music to the platform. And now, this. So if you recall, a few weeks back, I mentioned a useful video series my buddy told me about for musicians on Spotify, or artists for Spotify, called The Game Plan. So these small, short videos highlight how to get your music on the service, how to complete your profile for maximum exposure, basically really great tips on how to use Spotify even better than you're probably using it right now, right? So on that same website, you can go to a section called News, and you can find out other tips how to use the platform. It's also got some artist interviews and some pretty closely related, digital streaming, Spotify, music business industry news pieces. So if you frequent the site, you probably notice more and more DIY types of blog articles from artists with rather useful advice. And then came along the blog piece by Greg P., who is the second lead singer of the Dillinger Escape Plan. Rest in peace, guys. And his blog post, it was titled "Why My Band Decided Not to Sign with a Label." So I wanted to give my 2 cents here, but let me preface it with this. Every artist is different. Everyone's going to have different experiences, regardless if you work with the same label or a different label. labels. Some people want to stay independent, and more power to you. But some things to take into consideration are as follows. So first off, the title to that particular blog post is obviously clickbait because Greg goes into a very good story about what he's gone through, the Dillinger escape plan. And so what I would have to say first is that this following quote I think is a really great summary and maybe should have been the title of the post. Ideally, your label is your partner, not just a bunch of capitalists, but human beings with a strong passion for growing artistic culture and individuality who believe in you and are working hard to help facilitate your vision. So I think the thing to pay attention to here is that Dillinger were already established and had years of experience working with labels before they decided to make the choice to go out on their own, right? Plus, I'm sure technology definitely helped with that, and the internet and all this and all that. They're a relatively old band. So in your career, you're going to be coming across some pretty great folks, some average folks, and some folks that just show up for a paycheck. These people could be working at a booking agency or a PR firm or an artist management group or even a label, right? So it's the great folks that help elevate your career. And I guarantee that everyone that gets started in this industry always wants to do something great. It just depends on what happens to them throughout the career that might turn their opinion on that particular topic in a different way, right? So it's the great folks that help elevate your career, and the average folks, people who just show up for a paycheck, those people could really give a shit less about your growth and really are just looking in to cash in on your success. So a lot of artists these days, they are choosing to go independent. But what I want you to pay attention to is that most of them, they still use label services like distribution, licensing, or even management. So before you quickly attempt to remind yourself that signing to a label will be bad for your career, first consider thinking about labels just like extra team members helping you achieve your goals, right? You're going to want to talk to them. You're going to want to make sure that they will fit into your ecosystem, because if they don't, then fuck them. Go somewhere else or just wait for another offer, because if you're doing something and the label is approaching you, you're probably doing it right. And I'm being completely honest with you. All the people that I know have gotten into it because they enjoy the music, they want to get the music out there, not because they love money. So, something to think about.